Do you want to create a business that is robust, valuable, and with a lot of ease, something that you enjoy and are proud of? Hello, everybody. I'm Surabhi. I'm a CEO coach. In last 20 years, I have built two multi-million dollar companies and have led them to successful exit. All that experience now comes as a CEO coach to you. In this episode, we talked about how to build a valuable business, what makes a valuable business. We talk about how we have all of us, each and every one of us have our inner wisdom and how to access that. What are the practices that we can follow around that, the clarity that comes with it, and therefore makes you grow your business.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Online Prosperity Show. I'm your host, Prosper Tarovinga, and today we have a phenomenal guest with us. Surabhi, how are you doing today?
I'm very well, Prosper. Thank you so much for having me here. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely. Well, I'm a little bit jealous. Remember, I was telling you about how I want to come to Dubai, and you were just like, nah, I take walks to the beach and I just walk around, and it's winter time now. And yeah, I was just really enjoying that part, of the story. But thank you so much for making the time for us to get to know a little bit about yourself and what it is that you do as a business coach. Now, for those that are meeting Surabhi for the very first time, she's not just a CEO coach or a business growth specialist. She's a true entrepreneur. She's built and led two multi-million-dollar companies to successful exits, and we're going to hear all about that today. You see, Surabhi, when I heard that and when I saw that, I was just thinking to myself, wait a minute, I can't even get my little girls to eat breakfast. How do I grow a $2 million enterprise and actually exit out of it? So thank you so much for being with us here today, so you can share your journey with us. So for a lot of people, they're going to be asking a lot of questions. Who is Surabhi? And what exactly do you do as a CEO coach and business growth specialist?
So before I answer that, Prosper, I'm going to say that it's easy to grow a business, multi-million dollar business, than get your girls to eat breakfast. Because girls have their own mind. And the business, actually, if you do things systematically, yes, there are things out of your control. But if you really be very strategic and very disciplined about it, there are higher chances that you will be successful. So it's no rocket science. Don't think that it's an impossible task at all. And I always say, if I can do it, if I could do it, anybody can do it, because I come as an engineer. For first 4 years of our business, I was still sitting in a cubicle and I was coding, right? Uh, Not really looking after the business or how to grow the business. We all were just engineers, bunch of engineers, started a company, and now we are just doing what everybody else is doing, developing software. So being that's why I always believe, and that's where the transition from CEO as an entrepreneur to CEO coaching is, because I think there is a if we are trained and if we do this systematically, there are higher chances of people succeeding in their own business and growth, and world needs it. So should I start from the start? How do you okay.
Absolutely. I'm really enjoying this because I didn't picture you to have been an engineer, because you don't strike me as someone who, would have been, in that sort of capacity. How was the transition for you?
Oh, it was forced on me. When you're in the water, you learn to swim, isn't it? But today, it need not be. Today, the opportunity to have coaches, accessibility to talent and information is so much better that one should not go through all the trial and error and the stress of building a business. It can be easier and simpler, and that's what I'm trying to do in my third inning, I would say. So, starting as an engineer, me and my husband started a tech company. We used to work only for US product development companies from India. And that has been almost 18, 19 years journey for me. That's my flagship. That's the company that we built. And like I said, first 4 years or so, I've purely been an engineer, just working in the business, trying to do client deliveries, not thinking what my next project is going to be, what my next customer is going to be, what's my P&L, what's my profit, am I even profitable? There's enough cash to do all the expenses, and we are happy. Bunch of engineers, geeks in the cubicle. That's all we were. In 2007, then we got a great opportunity to build a health and wellness brand. And just because it was presented to us and it was a great opportunity, we couldn't say no to it. And we just jumped in without having any knowledge of the industry. We have never done any retail B2C kind of business. We don't know how to build a health fitness kind of a organization, but we just jumped into it. And I think in those 4 years is when I transitioned from an engineer to a business owner. Couple of things happened there, Prosper. First time I was interviewing a personal trainer, fitness trainer, I had no idea what questions to ask him. He's like a testosterone-filled body sitting in front of me. We are talking same language, but we are still not talking. We are talking English, but we are not talking same language. I was too polished, too well educated and engineer, and he was coming from the gym. Yes, I'm going to show the results, kind of thing. And then there, because we don't have any experience, I always thought that I should learn from a lot of other experts, get a consultant, do this, talk to this guy, read that book. I did all of that. And every time, whenever my gut was saying, I shouldn't be doing this, I shouldn't be listening to this specific advice. And I still did it because I thought they knew better. It always somehow came back to me that what I was thinking was right. And that's when the most important change happened for me, is me trusting my own judgment and my own decision. Why? Because it's my business. I'm the sole responsible person for its well-being. So I have to have that gut instinct. I have to listen to everybody, which I did, and I still continue to do. But then I should have my own mind and I should take my own decisions, because that's me as a business owner. And only I have the full picture. Nobody else can have that full picture. So that was the clarity and that was the confidence to really make decisions, because that's so important, right? Daily entrepreneur is supposed to take so many decisions, small, large, big, extra large. We do that. So then I started understanding the daily cash flow, the monthly expenses. Within first year, we started breaking even. So that was my biggest achievement. I learned how to do the marketing. I learned how to do sales. I learned how to price a product, because we were in such a competitive place where the potential members would walk in and they would say, oh, they are giving it for this price. Why are you charging me this? So I knew I had to create my own niche. I had to specifically say what are the benefits of working with us and have that competitive advantage, develop that competitive advantage and message it, market it well. So when I did all of that's when I actually started getting a little grasp of what this business is about, what the business of life is. And that was really a big transformation for me personally. Slowly, I was still doubling with my tech company, and now I have two businesses running, right? And it was getting too much work for me personally. And a great opportunity walked in, a celebrity. So we used to get a lot of celebrities, a lot of celebrity trainers in our fitness center. So one of them made an offer that he would like to acquire this entity. And I kind of thought that we have got our capital back and we have done a great job here. The membership, the retention, everything is working out well. But then I would like to focus more on my tech business, because that's really close to heart and my core expertise. So then we exited the health and wellness business. And this is 4.5 years of work, right? But that really transformed me, actually speaking. And then when I went to my tech business, I knew what business means and what all is required in the business. Creating that competitive advantage, making sure that your pricing is right, how to really have that uh, cash flow. I'm a big believer of cash is king, because we freedom was so important. Everything was about freedom. So we didn't want to borrow from any place. We didn't want to raise funds and dilute our equity, get a partner from outside. So we did everything we did. Yeah, we could have done it maybe faster, easier, but then we would have lost something in the process, right? We didn't want to do that. So we were very sure that we want to always own 100% of the company, and we want to grow this company basis the profit and cash that we actually generate within the business. So that's my biggest achievement, one of the biggest achievement in the business, I would say. It's not running the business, it's not multi-million dollar, it's not 200 employees and the customers that we had, but the biggest achievement was to stay self-funded, to manage the business and cash in such a way that it could actually fuel our own growth, because growth needs capital, and for that people go out and dilute their equity and lose their freedom in the process. If you're a startup which needs extensive capital, yes, maybe that's your path. But if you are mainly focused on your services and that's balancing your product development, creating your IP, then it's easily possible to grow on your own, uh, on your own as a business. And I'm a believer of that. So even today, my work is mainly with lifestyle businesses. When I do that, I'm very focused on if they are diluting equity and if they are actually borrowing money and taking that cost of finance on top of their actual expenses, right? So I'm almost a anchor on for them. I work as an anchor that you have to go through me if you want to borrow, and we will make sure that there is huge money in the business which we will somehow get out, and that will fuel your growth. Coming back to my story, um, so we worked with US, we expanded in India after two recessions of US, right? Lesson learned. And as we are building, acquired a lot of private sector banks of India, top top private sector banks, financial institutions from India, payment gateway companies, security and trading companies, insurances. All of these were our customers. So really great portfolio of customers, and the business was doing really well. I always call it as we were growing steadily exponentially. So even though it was exponential, it was not making me pull my hair that, oh, how do I fund this growth? There was a process and there was a method behind all that. And some things happened unconsciously. Some things I'm learning in retrospect when I'm looking at my journey. So when I came back from my health and fitness company to tech full time, we slowly started building our own product portfolio, because that's my intellectual property, right? That's my real value. And I understood that business is not just about building whatever I'm building and just keeping it running, but I want to really create a value within the business. And how does that value, what are those parameters? What makes the value of business grow? So I have to create that. And it worked really beautifully because my services business gave me cash, and my product revenue line gave me margins. So balancing them together, I was having a cake and eating it too, kind of a good situation that I was in. All that was running well, and of course, every business has many ups and downs. But if your foundation is strong, you can carry through. And in 2017, all of this is happening along with me and my husband, right? We were together. We were doing all this work, and in 2017, in an accident, he passed away. So then it kind of, everything crashing down. Life can change literally in 40 minutes, and we are never ready for this. There is, in our business, we look for notice periods. We look for if the documentation of processes is done. Here, there was nothing. There was no notice. There was no um, nothing to be. Nobody thinks like something like this could happen, right? We take life for granted almost. And so there were aspects of business that I was never involved, especially finance, banking, compliance, payroll. I was never part of that side of business. My husband used to take care of all of that. I would look after all the customer delivery, business development, HR, operations mostly. And then this really put me. I knew, Prosper. I knew that I was in a spot. All my customers were looking at me. What
Yeah,
is this woman going to do now? All my employees were looking at me that is my job safe here, or
mm,
should I be looking as much as they empathize and sympathize with me, but they have their own responsibilities, right? So to take care
absolutely.
of their own families,
Mm,
rightfully so.
yeah,
And I always talked about value of the business, right? And I used to talk about it in a monetary way, but this is the time when I actually understood the value of my business, what we have created, because this is the time when I showed up. Yes, that's all I did. I showed up because many things I did not know. How am I going to do payroll? I have no idea. But my people actually stood rock solid, really. My customers stood by me rock solid.
wow,
Whatever you need,
yeah,
tell me how, because the same customer who would make my life miserable, negotiate so heavily with me in this time. That was business, right? But this is human. This is really human. So they went out of their way to make my life easier, better, process as comfortable as possible. And that really helped me sail through, take over parts of the business that I've never paid attention to. And because I didn't know anything on compliance and finance, that put me in completely on the opposite side of it. Because, out of ignorance, also, you don't want to make a mistake, right? When
absolutely.
I'm
Yeah.
filing my tax returns, yeah, when I'm filing my tax returns, it's a huge responsibility. Earlier, my husband would sign, I would sign next to him. I would not even pay attention to what we are submitting to the government, right? In terms of filing. But here now I'm responsible and I have to have right questions at least so that I can understand what we are saying yes to. And that was a journey. And many advisors, coaches helped me through that phase. I need to.
Absolutely. I can see what you were going through there because that's a lot for one person, considering you've had all of this life together, you've built something together, and all of a sudden, that has to be taken away from you. Just walk us through how how you were feeling at that moment.
I mean, grief, of course, sense of loss, on a very personal side, not having a closure. You want to always say so many things, but you never say it in our relationships. And you always kind of busy doing, talking business, busy talking, God knows what not, and do not really take time to say the most important things that you want to actually say. And to not get that chance is something that really bothered. But I also want to share. Um, um, See, this is my way of looking at things. People may agree, believe, or not. I leave it to them. But I have been put on a path of my own spiritual journey much before. And there were times, and like I said, I started when I was doing Elixir, as in my health fitness club.
Yes.
I started developing my own gut, my own instinct, my own inner wisdom, you may call it as, right? I can get in a meditation, I can get in a journaling space, and I can put a question, and somewhere the answer comes. Not very consciously, but it gets done via me. The person comes, the book comes, the advisor comes. I mean, I can tell you so many synchronicities that have happened, Prosper, that you will you will think, how is that even possible? But
Well,
I think if
you
you
need to tell me how this synchronicity that we have met today and we're hearing your story, because your life story and your experience have so much value and depth inside of them. So now I'm starting to feel like I don't know if we are worthy of being the platform that you share this story on.
um, there is always a reason, and only time will tell. And it's always good to connect with people who come across our path, right? There is always a reason, I believe that. And um see, during these times, his parents imagine the grief, my parents imagine the sense of loss,
Yes.
and all employees and everybody, the shock of it was in another level. Like something like that can happen, right? I mean, it's a wake up call to many people.
Absolutely.
Um, and but because of my because of my uh, practices foundation, uh, there was always a sense of stillness in me where I could uh, hold my self study. I cannot say strong, but I can definitely say steady. Where uh, I can allow answers to come to me. There were times, Prosper, when, like I said, I have no idea about finance. If you ask me which way is debit and which way is credit, I'm still have to really. I used to look at this guy, this or that, and he will explain it in English. You paid, you received. That's me, engineer to business owner, but still being part of more of a business development and delivery than this side of the business. And so so many times I feel that I spoke and I wondered who spoke because I have no intelligence in my head to have that statement to come out of me, but it has happened. And the one of the thing uh, when I was in my studying all these things, when I'm practicing, I'm very committed, I'm very disciplined, I'm very focused person as a person, right? So that helped. So when I'm learning whatever I'm learning, my subconscious, I mean, I've done a lot of work on subconscious programming, belief, how to really access that, how to really tap into that and live life. And therefore, I say to all my coaching clients that don't make it a struggle. It should not be a struggle. People believe that, oh, building business is hard. It's If you keep saying that, of course it will become hard, right? The words are powerful. Words are creating that thought inside your body, and that thought is getting then manifested in your outside world. So these beliefs are who's telling you. Maybe it will be easy. Have you tried that? So on my own journey, when I'm practicing all these teachings, I've had amazing experiences. And I used to look up really and say that, why am I the chosen one? Why are you showering all this on me? Right? In terms of guidance, love, affection, whatever I'm feeling at that moment. And I'll tell you, when this incident happened, in at one particular time in meditation, I realized that's why. This is why I was trained. I really had goosebumps and thinking that I wasn't left alone in this. If this was supposed to happen, then I was trained. I was prepared. I was strengthened to experience and go through this and still show up in the world where as part of my responsibility and duty, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do and not giving up. So with that thought, I got so much uh, sense of support that if I wasn't left alone in this, then I won't be left alone in coming times as well, right? I will always be guided and supported in whatever ways.
Yeah.
All I have to do is uh, have remember this thought so that I can allow this guidance to show up in so many ways. And it comes with people, it comes from books, it comes from any particular blog or article post that will come in my experience, which is really required at that point in time for me to read, right? So
Can anyone access that, or is it something that's unique only to you based on the gifts that you have?
we all have that. We all have that. We just need to believe first that we have that, and then start working towards it. Like uh, there is a initiative by Will Bowen many years ago called Complaint Free World. Imagine, it's simple English, right? Complaint free world. How much do we complain, Prosper? And the initiative says, the drive says, you have to wear a bracelet, and every time you complain, you have to move it from this to this wrist. And I've read the book, I have seen all his YouTube videos, and I said, okay, I'm going to try this because it makes sense. Because, oh, how poor the weather is. It's a complaint. Are you going to change anything? Is the weather going to change? But even that small little thing creates a negative energy within our body. My team is losing in my favorite team is losing in sport. What are you going to do, really speaking? I mean, they're doing what they can do, right? You're boiling here with your anger. It's creating an energy inside the body which is not really helpful to you. You can watch the match and you can get entertained, but leave it at that. But do you have to complain? And even today, I can tell you that I've only actually done 3 days without complaining. I'm still working on myself. But that slowly starts understanding how much unnecessary baggage that we carry within ourselves. And if we start shedding that, then what happens is there is a space created where the intuition, the inspiration can flow. We have access to all of that. There is infinite wisdom within us. We were not left. If the grass can grow on its own, if the baby is born and knows where the milk is,
That
all your organs are working without your conscious awareness. If your body knows where to really process fat and where to really process your carbs and really take the nutrition out of it and put it in the red colored blood inside your body, you think it doesn't have intelligence to solve your problems?
So what then happens then, Surabhi? I mean, obviously we're born with this access to this untapped knowledge. And it just seems like when people grow up, they don't evolve. They just grow up to be fully grown babies who are just still complaining, like you say, and screaming and yelling and throwing tantrums. And eventually, by the time they are called to action, they can lead, or they can actually run a business that's profitable, like you would have done, in your experience.
Basically, we are trained, we are conditioned to externalize the problem. So if my company is not profitable, or if I'm not successful in any aspect of my life, I'm always trying to put the blame on the other party, something outside me. I'm not saying I'm to be blamed, but I'm responsible. Because, see, Stephen Covey really very beautifully put it in a very simple words, right? There's a circle of influence and there's a circle of concern.
Yes, yes.
You remember the concept? We
Yeah.
have learned all this, but we don't really apply. So it's the same thing in a different way of explaining, right? If you always focus on what's your circle of influence, opportunities and solutions emerge that you couldn't have got if you were just complaining about or talking about circle of concern. Market is bad, COVID happened, customer sucks, and my payments are not coming on time, this employee is doing that. I can keep externalize them problem. But if I just take a responsibility saying that, okay, what is that I can change? What is it in me that is creating this? Now it could be me and my company. Louise Hay, I'm a big fan of her work. She passed away at age 99. She
Yes.
says that every ailment in the body has a psychological reason behind it. The whole homeopathy as a medical stream has the same theory behind it. So if your thoughts are creating that pain inside the body, that inflammation inside the body, so if you just take a responsibility that why am I suffering physically also, then one can go and actually you take the medicine. I'm not denying that. I mean that is very important because body needs that support. But if you just cooperate in changing your thought and beliefs, then what can happen is the medicine may work faster. You're allowing it to happen. And then there are things like me losing my husband, which is not my in my control, right? That is something that was his story, my story, somewhere in my own journey. It had to happen because I had to learn something from this experience as well. And if you start looking at things and put things in perspective in that way, then what happens is life becomes a lot more freer. Then you're not always blaming and staying in the past. He did, he said, she said, and therefore I'm suffering. You need to move on. You can grieve. You can still hold that, uh, the whole, all of his life, you can hold that in the memory. But do you really want to keep it as a good thing or as a bad thing inside your body? That's the choice you make.
So
And the
that's
more
more
you
like
practice,
that's more like the power of now, right? Because obviously what
yes,
happened in the past, you
yes,
can't bring it into the situation we're in right now because it's not what is needed. What is needed in this particular moment is
yes,
this breath in and out.
yes.
And that's really all that matters. Is that how you are approaching this whole scenario?
Right. Have you read the book, Plus Power of Now? What's your experience? How have you ever implemented some of those things specifically in your journey?
That's a very good question. You see, Surabhi, having come from Africa, I already am coming into the picture with a lot of luggage, with a lot of trauma and everything else that comes along with it. And in the process of trying to build a business, I'm still maybe hung up on how I thought about money, how I thought about approaching people, how I thought about who I am in the grand scheme of things. But I'm not thinking about who I've become or the value that I'm actually bringing to the table. So sometimes I actually do pinch myself and say, hey, wait a minute, you've created this, you know what I mean? It's a whole different gamble now. You're not that African kid that's starving in Africa. You know, you are this person
Yeah.
that is great business, a great family, and a great network. So
Yeah.
it does
Yeah.
happen and it shows up.
Right. So, yes. And actually, Eckhart also talks about the complaint aspect of what we do, right? And I have his books in every form, from Kindle to audiobooks to physical books. And that's my go-to book whenever I'm cranky. And I still do get cranky. It's not like life is, I'm the perfect self every day, because I do have a pain body and it always kicks in. But if I, it may take, if I earlier it was taking a week for me to realize that I'm going there. Now it takes just few days maybe. So I'm happy with that progress. It's years of conditioning. My brain is wired that way, right? So it's good to take its own time. But if I just look at the progress, I make my peace with that then.
Maybe some people, when obviously when you start having conversations like this, they're looking at you in a weird way, like, you know, it's like where is this going? Or is that the sort of response that you might be getting, especially maybe in Dubai, where you are in there right now?
Surprisingly not. I don't talk about it if I'm not in a one-on-one conversation. Like I won't really write big posts on LinkedIn. Like on LinkedIn, I keep it little more to the point, to the world, what world wants to hear and can hear.
Yes.
Uh, but in many one-on-one conversations, I feel, why do we somehow accept this? You know, because many things I can scientifically also substantiate. So it's not like I'm talking complete woo woo, but the actual inner intelligence knows this, and therefore when I speak, it somehow connects. They may not get it in their logical mind, but they do somewhere, do not completely negate that. They do not say, oh, that's complete rubbish. And even if they do that, right? Somewhere down the line, this, I kind of believe, like Eckhart says, the seed gets planted. And it may take some time, but somewhere down the line, they kind of realize. Have you experienced that there's a book on your bookshelf which you never actually opened? You bought it or somebody gifted, it's there. And 5 years later, you open it and you kind of kick yourself, why didn't I read this before? But that was the time to read that. And that's the time when you could actually take it in, not before. So at the right time, I believe that the seed will do its work. So uh, I
Um,
can do my bit. The
absolutely.
person and
Yeah,
yeah,
I think they call it the reticular activated sort of system where if we start talking about the color red, all
yes,
you start seeing around you is the color red. So if your life is at a stage, the kind of people, the books, the systems, the processes that you need to go to the next level will start really showing themselves up. Just like when you were faced with having to balance your books and start doing your own accounting and things of that nature that you never had to do in the past, you found yourself being able, and the answers were coming to you like that. I just wish a lot of people would have so many experiences like that, because you've also mentioned that you're very passionate about human potential, and
yes,
obviously that you know couples with you building successful businesses, because businesses are all about people anyway. How do
yes.
these two aspects of the your skill set, the spirituality, and the actual business now align in the coaching that you are giving people?
So, great question, Prosper. Spirituality only helped in terms of trusting my own judgment and trusting that I will receive the guidance when it is required and when it is needed. And with that sense of support, I could really show up and do the work that was required on day-to-day basis. Uh, the main work that was done post my husband was in terms of stabilizing the business, answering everybody with some confidence, not in a verbal way, but answering meaning showing up and still continue to grow and push on growth in the business. And that kind of gave sense of confidence to everybody who was watching. 2 years later, somebody walked in and said that if you ever want to exit this business, let me know. And I had not thought about this option until then. I knew on my own, maybe I won't be able to push this beyond a point. I was losing my drive and motivation to do it all by myself. It was fun to do it together, right? Now I'm doing it. It wasn't. So uh, the exiting, selling the business process itself took almost 1.5, 2 years in terms of preparation, making the pitch deck, presentation, approaching potential buyers, and me making a presentation to them, correcting myself hundreds of times from their questions, learning. Still, I don't know my business that well in terms of what they are asking. It was that experience taught me more about my own business, I feel, than I just knew what I knew about my business. So, um, and it takes time to build that value in the business. The reason why I turned towards coaching after selling the business, after exiting, I did my International Coaching Federation course because I realized that building my business is one thing, but supporting somebody else to build their vision is a different story. So I cannot be pushing my own views on this person, but I need to support his views and only correct um if something is going to go wrong in the way he or she is trying to execute it. So that helped. But the main couple of motives that I had, one is when I was in the business, yes, 200 employees, everything working, however that is working. So that's my impact. We're building products, we are making difference in bank and bank's customers. So that was the impact. Now I wanted to create an impact, but not have such large operation to manage.
Mm.
And this felt very close to heart. I want to be close to the business. In the beginning, you mentioned what keeps me ticking, right? So the profits, the cash, the growth, that really gives me a kick. Honest truth. If I see that, not just for me, but in any business, then that's great. I mean, because that's human potential. Did you think before you started business that you're going to make this happen? No, but you're believing, you're trusting that, and you're enhancing your own skill set, and you're showing up, and you're facing the world and situation, and you're building it. And if you do this more, you will do it faster and with a lot more ease. And I thought that I made it as my mission that I want to be close to business and I want to help as many entrepreneurs possible so that they can really dream big. As in, I want to tell them that wake up and dream. So, and don't think, oh, what if? Don't think that, can I do it? Let's at least try and let's see how it goes.
Mm.
Let's put one step ahead of each other and do it systematically, strategically, not randomly. And that's where my years of experience comes in. That's where my spiritual aspect of that made me believe in human potential, that it is possible. If an engineer like me, who would have, if you would have met me in my school time and say that, Surabhi, write your bhag, write your goal, write your ambition, I would have never ever put that I will have two businesses prosper. Honest truth. But I just
Mm.
kept going with whatever was kept in front of me, right? And do my best.
Fantastic.
So, so if I can do it, I'm sure everybody can do it. And that's human potential in a very simple terms, right? How
Uh,
to access it where I can help and support in their journey. That's what I do.
Absolutely. Now, you offer what's called CEO coaching, which is one-to-one, where somebody gets to get time with you and then they, you're teaching them. So what is it that you are walking them through, and who is your specific ideal target market for this coaching?
All possible knowledge is available today. Information is not lacking. From book to master classes to webinars to, yeah, all of that is available, isn't it? But still, we don't do many things. We feel stuck or we feel overwhelmed. And what really applies to my situation? And in entrepreneurship, there are many things that if you start investing your time today, it's not going to show up in next 2 weeks. It's going to be a journey. So you want all the answers now, right? If I go this path in 2 years, 5 years, will I get there or not? Will it cost me huge money? Will it cost me my peace of mind? Will it cost me what? I don't know. And therefore, you can either have, I see entrepreneurs with so many choices and options, but cannot take a step because which one will work? We want the answers today. We are not willing to wait for 2 years because then that's time is gone, right? So that's an overwhelm. And then there are entrepreneurs, this is my situation. I don't know what to do and I feel stuck. And that's a complete state of almost depression, not in a clinical way, but like I want to grow. My heart says I want to run, but I don't know which path. So I'm kind of feel stuck here and that's annoying. So what happens is you can read everything, you can get all the knowledge and information, but you do not have a wise counsel. You do not have your own Yoda. And if there is somebody on the other side who has been there, done that, understand this journey emotionally, understand what are the priorities, understand what questions to ask, and not really taking your time to get in the context. If the person can do that, then I can just offload, and that's what happens in my one-on-one coaching. So even if they are part of so many different networking groups, read so many books and have all that, but this is a safe, non-judgmental space where my interest is only and only aligned with their interest. I do not have my own agenda. I want just them to succeed. And I will be that accountability partner, that support system for them, and in all possible ways, right? So that's where this is the place where uh, you want to come and really not be so lonely in the journey, you know?
Because they say it's
That's
lonely
what
at the top.
absolutely.
But you
And need
see,
not be, should not be.
well, obviously, with people like you along the way that have done this and gone through all the things, somebody like you to be an accountability partner, I think that is something that a lot of people would be craving for. Now, what would be the best way that people can maybe get started and working with you?
Right. So just to answer, since I said all that, uh, what happens in the sessions and the way we work, my top work is basically cash strategy, marketing, and peak performance of the CEO himself or herself. Because if he is not fully aligned, then we cannot expect any of this to work, right? So these are the four aspects where I mostly focus on. Uh, Being said that, my ideal client would be somebody who has a six-figure business at least. I definitely do work with five figures. I definitely do with more than six figures because it's finally business. It's if you need a sounding board, if you need somebody to mirror you, that are you really thinking this, right? And tell you that maybe you need to look at this, then that's what I can do for any size of business asset. Um, Best way to start with me is I I have I mean, on the website, I say discovery call, which is something that we start with. But typically, two or three discovery calls happen because it's a relationship that we are building here. It's a relationship of extreme trust and really getting to know each other. What's your ambition? I'm interested in knowing what's your ambition. Where do you want to really? What do you want to really do, right? And people can come. Oh, I want to run $1 million, have a so many dollar business. Yeah, fine. Everybody wants that. Give me some details. And we don't have that clarity. So the step one becomes that. Other is I want to start, but I don't have time to do this. So this is like, I want to go so fast in my car, but I don't have time to stop at a gas station and put in some fuel in it. So these are the typical challenges that CEOs would face. But as we start talking and they start seeing a value, they slowly understand that how important this is and how this can really fast track. I mean, if you're going to take 2 years to do something, maybe you'll do it with 6 months or 1 year to achieve the same thing because you're not wasting time. You're not taking 2 steps here, 2 steps there. You're actually going like, this is my path and I'm just going there because the clarity gives confidence.
Yeah.
Confidence is everything. I mean, your team he knows what he's doing, he or she, my leader, right? Everybody knows it shows up. So yeah, did I answer your question?
Yes, absolutely. I quite like that because it's very clear the people that you speak with and want to work with, six-figure earners, people that have some sort of direction, you just want an accountability partner and somebody who can really shortcut their learning curve. And I think so many people are looking for people like that out there because, like you say, there's books out there, there's webinars, there's all this information, but it's not like you can get somebody who can distill it all together into usable information. It's like when you're having a cup of coffee, you can have the beans, you can have the boiling water, you can have the sugar, you can have a cup. And if they're all in different places, you need a barista or a coffee maker that will actually make it into a consumable beverage. And I think that is what you are delivering to people there.
You said it so well. I've never thought about it this way. Great. I learned something.
Yeah, so people should come and have a coffee with Surabhi, and then you distill all that information for them moving together. Now, while I was talking like that, just indulge me a little bit. You see, like I was saying, I'm from Africa, and we've got a diverse sort of culture where I have to learn how to operate in the first world, and I also have to learn how to integrate in my own culture and things of that nature. Now, with what you're teaching people and what you're showing people, everybody comes in with all that information from elsewhere, but it's not matched together. It's just like balls of wool that need to be interwoven into something that's consumable, right? And I feel like what you take people through, like you said, if somebody was going to take 5 years, they could do it in 5 days, because you're shortening the learning curve. Could it be that what you're providing is somewhat of a rite of passage, which is basically showcasing to people, this is what you're supposed to do, this is who you're supposed to become, now go and do it? Because in the world that we live in right now, people just grow from babies to adulthood without that pattern break or that time when somebody pats you on the shoulder and says, hey, it's your turn to lead now.
Yeah. Great question. And I like the choice of word in terms of rite of passage. I always tell my customers, I will be who you want me to be. When I say that, I when I'm in a space of coaching, depending on the person on the other side, right? When I'm in the space of coaching, I'm not in the not in the way of telling. I do not tell them do this, do that, and then you will reach there. Because coaching is not telling. Coaching is asking questions so that they get their own clarity, believing that they have their own wisdom. And once it comes from their own self, then they definitely do it. Then I don't even need to be an accountability partner because they know this is the right path for me. This is what we should do. This is where my business will make the most because they know their competitive advantage. If they don't know, if we are going through that exercise of finding your competitive advantage, finding your brand promise, then what happens is in that conversation, they know what I can stand for more than me. I could ever, I'm coaching right now a jewelry brand. They have 6 retail outlets. Have I ever done a jewelry business? No. They have a manufacturing and they have a resourcing uh, companies. So they actually can control the entire supply chain. What kind of advantage they should be actually reaping the benefit of that? I'm bringing that to awareness by asking questions. He is a seasoned CEO. It's a 4th generation jewelry company. It's not born yesterday. Why am I working? Why is he seeking my help? It's because he's so busy. He has 100,000 things that are happening. He doesn't even have 1 hour of thinking space, which I hold for him. And he can come as cranky as he can be and then offload and then distill. And that clarity is there. And that's the time when I'm mostly asking questions. I hate these negotiations. Do you really now? And you know how I wrote a post about it on LinkedIn actually, the exact same conversation almost. And that kind of, oh, why do I hate the negotiations? It should be, I mean, I made it such a great thing that now he looks at it as a dance of negotiation and is enjoying it. So the perception changed, right? So he enjoys that. That 1 hour he would have hated and energy would have gone down. Now it's building.
Mm.
So there I'm coaching. Now there are founders who are first time entrepreneurs or just starting their company. I work with them as well. And that's when I'm mostly a mentor. I'm mostly an advisor. Then I will kind of tell, okay, these are the 3 things. Think about it and tell me what do you have in mind. But it's always an exploratory journey. I'm not somebody who will run a masterclass, do this, and you will get your results. That's where that one-on-one space and the firm belief is, you have all the answers within you. All I'm doing is asking the right questions so that your brain is tricked to find an answer. And you will always find it. You do. If
Mm.
not, I need to go and research. I need to look at this. Sure, go ahead and do it.
Right.
So what I will always work is what's your ambition vision? What's the strategy we are looking at? What's the skill sets that are required? Most of the time we become the CEO and then we are figuring out how to be the CEO, on the job. When people are watching us, does he even know what needs to be done? And there's an imposter syndrome that kicks in, right? And
Yeah.
that's a lack of confidence. So um my work in the coaching space is purely, really strongly holding a belief that he knows, that person knows he's not looking for answers from me. He's looking for clarity. And if I can successfully bring that out from the brilliant of the CEOs, why would they have somebody telling them? Somebody who's running a 6, 7 figure business, they've seen the world enough. Many
Mm.
of them even have multiple businesses. They've seen the world enough. It's not all new for them, but they still want that space where they can brainstorm, they can get their clarity. And that's so many aha moments come. How can I be thinking like this is what they will end up after all the knowledge that I have.
Mm.
So yeah, I can be coach, I can be advisor, mentor, educator, whatever you want to, whatever is required in that situation.
Okay.
But from the strong belief, even when I'm mentoring 19, 20-year-old uh, entrepreneurship students, I will still go with that belief. Not that he has not seen the world or she has not seen the world and I have to teach him. No, it's a very Socratic method of working, where I'm asking questions and not giving answers straight away. I
Absolutely.
hope that answered your question.
Oh
Yeah.
no, I'm enjoying this. And I'm just hoping we're not going to run out of tape because this is quite fascinating. Just getting into the depths of how you operate and everything else. But Surabhi, in the past 45 or so minutes, the woman that I've spoken to is a completely different woman to the one that would have been, like you said, at a younger age. If you asked me what my goals were or my engineer when you were studying your engineering, that's a whole different person all throughout there. You've completely changed and you have really, really, risen to the position that you are in now and holding space for other, business people so that they too can have businesses that are profitable and enjoyable. Now, my question to you is, what sort of advice would you maybe give to the younger Surabhi there, considering all the experience and insights that you've actually gained throughout your journey so far?
I, top of my head right now, what is coming up is trust more. Trust the process. Um, I, as an entrepreneur, I think all of us are very impatient, right?
Yeah.
If we have it in the thought, we want it in the result like next day, and it doesn't happen. And then that's where the angst comes. That's where the irritation, frustration comes. We want it quick. I want it quick. Patience is not my virtue. But I have to keep reminding myself that, trust the process and you cannot get all of it and you will not be able to handle all of it if it comes today, right now, at this moment. Because I need to grow to be able to receive that and still enjoy it, right?
Mm.
So that's my. I would advise that all those cranky moments, all those frustrations, why is it not happening? Why is it not showing up? Was not required really.
Trust the process, you say, and I truly believe that because everything happens for a reason. Like we were saying, normally when things are happening to us, we think we're being dealt a wrong hand, but you can imagine a seed. If it is being put in the ground and covered with dirt, it thinks it is being buried, but in actual fact, it's actually being planted. So it's one of those things that are just beautiful about, the life and the experience that we have. Now, I know you are one person that likes talking about the now. We've come from all the way past to where you came from, and we have sort of found out where you are right now. What can people expect now, as you exit one chapter and you enter another? What do you envision for your future, and how does maybe your coaching tie into that vision?
I don't want to use word help, but support and be available to as many entrepreneurs who really want to scale, grow their business profitably. And I want to definitely add a word effortlessly, not as in with ease. That's the right word. You will have to do the work, but can it be with more of peace and happiness when you're doing that? You can work 24 hours and still be happy and peaceful, and you can work for 12 hours and be cranky, right? So I want to really support, help entrepreneurs building their businesses really robust, um, of more value. That's my talk, constant talk. Any decision that they are making, is it adding value to the business? Is it going to make your business more valuable? That's my decision making criteria. One of the criteria I always talk about in my coaching sessions. So build a business, build a valuable business, build a business that's robust so that the world can go from here to there and you will still at least not you will definitely survive and then continue to thrive. So that's what I'm looking for. So whoever wants to really uh, get there faster and with more ease, I'm the one they should talk to.
Fantastic. You know what, Surabhi, as we wind up this call today and this episode, I I viscerally believe you owe us a book.
Someday. Not saying no, definitely not. But someday. It's not over yet.
Absolutely. Well, those two exits, the grief that you had to go through and still rising like a phoenix out of the ashes and still wanting to help other people, because some people would have been like, oh, I've had so much of this happening to me. I'm going to look after me first. But you have chosen to send the elevator down and help other people do and have a business that's profitable and enjoyable. And I like how you said it, effortlessly, because so many people are out there trying to put a square plug in round holes, just because other people have done it in the past, and they just think that they can do it cheaper, better, faster in ways that are going to hurt them. I can't thank you enough for the time that we've spent today. I think this is just part one, because I think there's still more left there.
Sure, would love to do that. So many things still, I mean, specifically about business. And when I passionately talk about value of the business, right? Because it gives so much, so many opportunities, opens many doors. So yeah, and really great pleasure to be here, share my story. And you have put in few more perspectives on them, the coffee and the seed, those things. Those are my few takeaways to see things differently a little bit.
Well,
Great to be here, and really enjoyed the conversation.
absolutely. Hopefully, we're not going to see you with tattoos and a bun becoming a barrister and.
No, I'm not going to do that, but it's a great analogy.
Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that about wraps up yet another inspiring episode of the Online Prosperity Show. I mean, massive thank you to Surabhi for sharing her incredible journey, insights, and the transformative power of her coaching. I think she should be billing every one of us for that one-on-one hour power talk, that we just went through. And if you have come to this part of the show, thank you so much for tuning in. And I recommend that you connect with Surabhi. I will definitely put all the links in the show notes there, so you can connect with her on LinkedIn. I just do that as well. And I started following her posts, and now we're here. You never know what that could unlock. And you go on and create businesses that are valuable, like what Surabhi says. And if you don't understand what that means, this is the right time for you to seek out experts that have done it themselves. And I think Surabhi is the coach for you. So reach out to her, explore the possibilities, and remember, it's never too late to start building a stronger version of yourself. Until next time, this is Prosper. We're signing off. Bye for now.
Thank